Hello viewers, welcome once again to Family Vibe TV. I'm Okiko Beach Ferdinand, I'm your convener and I'm also your host. With me on set is Barrister Christopher Neko, former Ikewesi of J.O. Chambers. And she will be introducing herself shortly. We'll be treating a topic that says breach of contract, volume 1. In this volume 1, we'll be dealing with breach of contract on promise to marry. Promise to marry. If you look at the situation most of us are facing in this country, you will see where either a guy or a woman or a lady would have a marriage discussion with the opposite sex with intention that okay, I will marry you and okay, I will also help build you up to my taste, my class, or maybe the demands of life, bring you up to the demands of life. Then when we are done with this thing, when the time is right, we will get married. But in most cases, it doesn't end that way. In some areas of guys who finish training a lady in the university, she will come up with a story that looks like, oh, you are no longer my class. And the marriage will kind of start having an issue. That is, you understand? And it's vis-a-vis man, woman, do you understand? It's not like it's only done by a woman, no, men also do that. I made the Family Vibe TV to bring it as a subject of discussion, to educate others. With me on set, like I said, is Vice Former Christopher Ikewesi. She'll be introducing herself too, and she will now continue with the topic on what is contract.
Hello viewers, I'm Christopher Ikewesi Esquire with Dr. J.O. Chambers. Okay, let's talk about contracts. In this volume, we are concentrating on breach of promise to marry. But first of all, what is contract? When you say there is a contract, what do you mean by that? It is a legally binding agreement between two or more parties that creates mutual obligations and enforceable by law. It creates obligations that both parties are expected to fulfill their own parts of the obligations, and it's also enforceable. That is the meaning of contract.
Wow. So, you heard it. Now, going to the second one without wasting any time, when would you say that there is a binding contract?
Okay, basically, there are elements of valid contracts. We have offer in the form of a proposal.
Okay.
Then we have acceptance.
Okay.
The person you propose whatever to, or your terms of contract to accept or agree with the offer. Then we have consideration, exchange of something of value,
Okay.
or maybe a furnish of money or services. Okay. Then we have the fourth one, which is the intention to create a good relationship.
Okay.
Yes. So when these elements are present, it is sage and presumed that there are binding contracts.
Wow. You guys can hear yourself. Now that takes us straight to the third one, which is what constitutes breach of contract then?
Breach of contract arises from non-fulfillment of obligations of each parties.
Okay.
If any of the parties breach their own obligations, what they are expected to fulfill in the contract, there is a breach of contract. I made an offer, you accepted, and then we furnish consideration. Then if I don't keep to whatever that is in terms of that contract, there is a breach.
Wow.
And it's fundamental to the contract.
Okay. Now, let's talk on validity and invalidity of a contract and how can it be?
Yeah, once these three elements are present, if there is offer, acceptance, and consideration, the contract is presumed to be valid.
Okay.
On the other hand, there may be elements, offer, and acceptance. In the other hand, you call this part. In the other hand, there may be offer, acceptance, and consideration. I will presume the contract is valid. But then there are vitiating elements in that contract.
Okay.
You understand? There are elements that are considered vitiating elements to a contract. If there is any form of misrepresentation, if the contract was made by duress or under duress, if there is undue influence,
Okay.
if there is a element of illegality, maybe you're entering a contract with a drug dealer to procure drug, or it's illegal, you understand? Then if the parties to contracts are incapable by virtue of age, they are minors, most times our people will go ahead to buy properties in the name of their child who are minors, you understand? I'm presuming that they are securing the property for the child.
Okay.
But the truth remains that that contract is void at initio, because you can't enter into a contract with a minor.
Okay.
Yes. Then on the subheading of incapability, if parties to that contract are of unsound mind, I mean any party of the contract is of unsound mind, it is vitiating elements. Yes, it can be voidable.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. You've heard conditions for contract to be valid or invalid. So now that takes us to the main reason why we're gathered here, marriage itself. So what is marriage?
Marriage is defined as a legal union of one man and one woman as husband and wife.
One man, one woman. I don't understand.
Yes.
It's okay. Go
It's a
ahead.
legal union of one man and one woman as husband and wife.
Because I believe, and I know you know why I say one man, one woman. Because we're Africans, and I'm an Igbo man. Even in Yoruba, even in Hausa, they are allowed to marry more than one wife. And you know these things are customary too, and we have customary codes. So you should know better than I know on this area. That's why I'm laughing. So if you have more light, you can ask for through on this case. Why one man, one woman, when the law allows some things like customary whatever into our system?
Of course, we have customary marriages and we have statutory marriages. Under the status, the law recognizes one man and one woman.
Okay.
But customarily, depending on the custom of different people,
Okay.
you can take more than one wife, provided there isn't a statutory marriage.
Okay.
Yes. In that case, you can have more than one wife.
It's alright. Now, is marriage a contract?
Of course, it's a contract.
How?
It's a contract. The elements of contracts are present. You offered, there was an offer, a proposal to marry me, and then you accepted. The person you made proposal to accepted, and there were considerations, and then you guys tied the knots. So it's a contract.
So let's get to the other one. So, what is breach of promise to marry?
Okay? Breach of promise to marry is a civil wrong that arises when one person promises to marry another person but fails to keep that promise without justification. Yes.
Without justification.
Yes.
Okay. Any example to that so that our viewers can understand it very well?
Okay. Just like I said, without justification, it means there are justifications for your action. It's a defense. You promise to marry her, yes, you're not denying that fact. But there are things that is making it impracticable for you to fulfill that promise.
Okay.
You found out that as of the time you made that proposal to marry her, that she was legally married to another person.
Okay.
So long as that marriage is not dissolved between her and that former husband, you can't proceed to do that marriage or rather marry her. And probably you married her, you want to marry her, but then you found out that she is related to you by blood or related by marriage. Under the matrimonial custody rule, there are prohibitions for people that are within that circle of consanguinity and affinity. Consanguinity means that you're related by blood. Then affinity, you're related by marriage.
By marriage, okay.
So the law prohibits that marriage. You can't get married to such persons.
Wow.
And then you wanted to marry her, but then you noticed there was a misrepresentation. She lied about herself. There was a deceit. You initially intended to marry her because she's a lady, but then along the line you found out that she's a transgender, and she didn't avail that information to you.
Okay.
There's a misrepresentation. And then you wanted to marry her, but there wasn't consent from her parents. Withdrawal of
Consent?
Yes, withdrawal of consent.
Parents?
Yes. You can't marry without
It's
the
okay, go ahead.
consent.
Yeah, you're right.
In cases when the party is below 21 years under the Matrimonial Causes Act. But if it's an individual that is above 21, they can consent for themselves.
Okay.
Yes. Then you wanted to marry her again, but then you found out that she's guilty of infidelity, she's of unsound mind, she's not of marriageable age, she's a minor. You understand?
Okay.
So all these factors make it impracticable for you to
Proceed with marriage.
proceed with the marriage.
Okay.
And there are so many other factors, but let's just stop at this because of the time. Yes.
Wow. Then, in the course of this, how do you get a kind of remedy for this? Is there any remedy available for breach of promise to marry?
Of course, of course. If you're aggrieved that he promised you marriage and along the line he didn't keep to that, you can take out an action. It's a civil wrong.
Okay.
But then it doesn't end at taking out an action to remedy that. The onus to prove that there was an existing promise to marry, not just mere dating and assuming that he will marry you because you guys are being in a relationship, is on you. You have to prove that there is actually a promise to marry, an engagement, you understand, and along the line he breached and failed to keep to that promise.
Wow.
Yes. Okay, let's take for instance, if your man or Mr. A, who is the man, proposes to you and you accepted to marry him, that is the element acceptance,
Okay.
and he goes ahead to come for introduction, meet your people and collect list and fixes a wedding date, and along the line, because of one or two reasons, maybe he found someone more appealing to him, decides to withdraw.
Okay.
You can't deny that, you understand? You can't. You guys, there was a valid promise to marry, and it's obvious. And if you are able to establish and prove that fact, you're entitled to remedies, compensations for your, it could be monetary compensation for your stress, emotional trauma that you went through, and the psychological traumas that you suffered as a result of such a breach. Yes.
Okay. Now, from this, now you kind of told the line of defense that you said you have to prove. So that brings us to the next question. That's what are the available defenses for promise of breach to marry?
Okay, like I
Breach of
said,
promise.
breach of promise to
Yes,
marry.
breach of promise to marry. Yeah.
Like I've said earlier, after the definition of what breach of promise to marry is, you can raise defenses that at the time you wanted to marry her, that she was in another existing marriage, legally married to another person, which is not yet dissolved by the court. You found out that she is related to you by blood, by marriage, all those things.
Yeah.
You found out that there was a misrepresentation. You found out that she is of unsound mind. She is a minor. And so many other defenses. You understand? Yes.
Wow. Viewers, you have seen it all, you've heard it all. Breach of promise to marry is real, and a lot are still doing that without conscience. But one thing I know about life is that you should always apply this law that says whatever you wouldn't want people to do to you, do not do it to others. If you want to pinch people, you pinch yourself first and see how it pains. So if it is that painful, please and please do not pinch others. Stop it at that and show love. Love is a universal drug everybody should be served with. Whoever you come in contact with, show the person love. So till we meet next time, I'm here, my very best. Okay, come soon. Thank you and God bless.
God bless you.